He fired his weapon through the door, and I fired a weapon through the door, and Miss Fox got shot in the midst of, me and him shooting at each other, and me.
Okay, let's stop right, because you and I both know that make a lot of sense.
I don't know about you, but me personally, I felt like I needed a Miss Jackson interview, and we're gonna get one. I'll unpack it with all the details.
So first, the preliminaries. You are Robert Jr., classified as a second felony offender. Your DOC number is 390060. You're here today seeking a commutation of your sentence. You were sentenced in March 2004 in Washington Parish for a second-degree murder, and you received a life sentence. Is that information correct, Mr. Toomer?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson.
Mr. Toomer, how old are you, sir?
I'm 42, ma'am.
And how long have you been incarcerated?
19 years, 10 months, and 15 days.
So, under 20 years, is that correct? It's under 20 years.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to first talk to you about the crime itself. What was your relationship with the victim, Ms. Fox?
We was engaged, ma'am.
What does that mean, you're engaged?
We was in a relationship for 3 years.
Oh, that doesn't mean you're engaged, it just means you're in a relationship.
Yes, ma'am. We had been living together for 3 years, and prior to the situation, before the actual crime, we was engaged for 2.5 years, ma'am.
She terminated the relationship, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. We split.
And how long before this crime did she terminate the relationship?
About a week before.
Well, you have been living with her up to a week before the
Yes.
crime?
Yes, ma'am.
So in your own words, tell us what happened on May 26, 2000.
Yes, ma'am. May 26th of 2000, I had talked with Miss Felicia earlier that night, and during the time that we had talked, I found out that her and a friend of mine was having an affair, and me being young and not really understanding the value of a person's life, I went there out of jealousy, raised and committed this horrific crime against her.
So tell me what you did when you got to her home.
When I went there, we went to a room and got trapped in the room.
I mean,
Ma'am.
How you get trapped in a room?
The door latch of the on the door was sticking. It wouldn't turn, and the guy that.
What room was that?
The bathroom, ma'am.
So you and Miss Fox were in the bathroom?
Yes, ma'am. And the reason we ended up in the bathroom is because the person that was there with her, he upped the gun, he draw the gun, and me running and her running, trying to get out of the midst of, if he go to shooting. And so as we was in the bathroom, he fired his weapon through the door, and I fired a weapon through the door, and Miss Fox got shot in the midst of, me and him shooting at each other, and me.
Okay, let's stop right, because you and I both know that make a lot of sense. If you're in the bathroom with Miss Fox and you're shooting towards the door, towards Mr. Colley, how in the world would she have gotten shot if she's in the bathroom with you and you're shooting out of the bathroom towards Mr. Colley?
Well, ma'am, she did get shot twice. One shot, they said that it possibly could have happened with the
Mr. We have police report.
yes, ma'am.
I'm not asking you this because I don't know what happened.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
asking to see if you're going to be honest and whether you're going to accept responsibility for what you did.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a history of domestic violence between you and Ms. Fox. Isn't that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And she was afraid of you, and she had actually called the police about you coming to her house earlier, and you were told to leave. Is that?
That's correct, ma'am.
And then you went back to her house. Was it around 5 o'clock in the morning?
I believe so, ma'am. I
And you
believe
went
that.
back there armed with a shotgun. Correct?
The shotgun incident was the incident that happened before the actual.
So you went to her house earlier with a shotgun, correct?
Yes, ma'am. That was on another day, two
Right, but-
2 days prior, 3 days prior before that, ma'am.
And then on the day of the murder, you show up at her house at about 5 a.m. And you came on with a weapon again, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was your purpose for going to her home at 5 a.m.?
I have no excuse, ma'am, because I was young and not really, had no way of thinking and knowing the value of a person's life. And I have no excuse for it now.
So tell me what you've done over the last 20 years. What kind of programs have you taken? What has your job been at the institution? So tell us a little bit about your time in prison. Well, let's start with your write-ups. How many write-ups have you had?
I think I have 11 write-ups throughout the time that I've been incarcerated, ma'am.
And I think the last one was in 2012.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember what those write-ups were for?
The one in 2012 or the ones before that?
You had a Rule 3 and a Rule 5 in 2012.
Yes, ma'am.
So what happened in those instances?
Okay, the one in 2012, ma'am, I believe, if I'm correct, that it was a disobedience. And I don't know exactly what the rule fractions is for it, but I believe it was disobedience. And I don't know what the other one.
What happened? In what
Okay.
way was it disobedient?
I was leaving out. I was leaving out for work, and the security lady asked me to take out trash, and I didn't, and I got written up for it.
Why didn't you take it out?
Now,
Why didn't you take out the trash?
I actually thought that she thought that I was the dome oily, and I was trying to explain to her that I wasn't, and I should have done it regardless of what I may have thought she had was thinking what was my job title. And so for that, I take responsibility because regardless of what, if a security officer asks you to do anything as an offender, you should do it.
And did you also have a theft?
Ma'am,
You also get written up in 2012 for theft?
for theft,
Mhm.
uh, not that I know of now.
Well, tell us about some of the programs you've taken since you've been incarcerated.
Yes, ma'am. I have taken thinking for a change, substance abuse, uh, uh, anger management, 100 hours pre-release, and I went to Baton Rouge Community College program for welding here at the prison, and I have done, numerous of other things, and that's pretty much what I've been doing over the years now.
When you were out of prison before you got discharged, were you involved in drug use or alcohol use?
Uh, yes, ma'am. I have smoked marijuana in the past.
And what else?
Uh, no, I didn't have an alcohol use. It was pretty much, me using marijuana on a daily basis at times.
And how far had you gone in school?
12th grade, ma'am.
Did you graduate?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you employed?
I was employed briefly at a windmill nursery and Oasis detail car wash in Mandeville, Louisiana.
You've taken Think for a Change, Cage Your Rage, Living in Balance, and Malachi Dance. Do you have children?
Ma'am?
Have children?
Yes, ma'am.
How many children do you have?
I have 5, ma'am.
At 22, you were about 22 when you came into prison and you had 5 children?
Yes, ma'am.
How many different mothers?
2.
And, but I take it Miss Fox was not one of the mothers of your children.
No, ma'am.
So tell me what you got out of Thinking for a Change.
The key thing for me, thinking for a change is that I got from it is that having a support system now with you, that your way of thinking when you're faced with a situation, you don't have to, just respond to it right then, that you could sit back and reflect and have someone to talk to help you make a better rational choice than you just acting on impulse.
Have you taken any victim awareness classes?
Well, I haven't taken it the actual class itself, but one of the programs that 100 hours provide to you, it covers victim awareness. And in that, I have learned that, my actions not only affected, me, but my family and the victim's family as well. And me looking at, the fact that Miss Fox had children and how their life had been changed with them growing up without their mom, and me for my children growing up without me.
Would you say that you were a domestic abuser?
Yes, ma'am, I will say that.
And do you know why you treated women that way or responded to women in that way?
It's when I look back on it, ma'am, I could say that, you know, me growing up in a household where my mom and father were separated, that I never really had that father figure to show me how to, you know, become a man and treat women with respect and know that, you know, treating a woman with respect is something that's a man supposed to do. And so for me now, throughout the programming that I have took over the years, it have shown me, you know, my actions that the way that I thought back then was totally wrong from what a man really supposed to be and how he's supposed to treat a woman, regardless of what they may be going through in a relationship or friendship or what. So, and so for that, you know, I thank the people that really took time to invest in me and show me over the years of my mistakes and how to become a better person, a better man, a better father.
Do you have a relationship with your children?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
With how many of them?
All of them.
Okay, when you say a relationship, describe what you mean by a relationship.
Okay. The relationship with my children, I talk to my sons every other weekend and my daughter, and they consult with me for advice, and I give them the best sound advice that I can give them, and it's something to me because even though I've been not in their life as you know as they done grow to become young men and young women, they still respect me as their father, regardless of you know what I have done, and me telling them, you know, I want you to look at my situation and know that if you know you faced with these things in life, that if you make these type of choices, these are the things that could happen. As much as I love y'all, I have to watch y'all grow from in here. And so I asked them to just, you know, think about the choices that they make in life. When you make choices, look at your father and see what happened with me and where I'm at in my life. And now y'all had to grow up without me. So and they give me the respect that they dad, even though I'm 200 and some miles away from them.
I take it because they are so far away from you, they don't get to visit.
Yes, man. My sons, they come whenever my father, my mother, or my sister come to see me.
And if you were successful, Mr. Toomer, what's your transition plan?
My transition plan, my father, I have talked to him about employment, and he talked to his boss about hiring me. And so, first and foremost, you know, it'll be to actually get me a job, and my sister provided me with a place to stay, which is with her. And from there, I plan to spend much time with my family and surround myself with, you know, more positive than I could. And hopefully, you know, get involved with some community, you know, outreaches or whatever, and try to at least talk to some of the young kids in my neighborhood that can then went through some of the things that I went through to make better choices in their life so that they don't have to make the same mistake that I made. Oh, and And if I could prevent one or two from doing so, then I would think that this experience that I done went through is something to be, told to people and to the youth, to the young kids.
I have to tell you that there is a lot of opposition to your early release, Mr. Toomer. The judge, the DA, law enforcement, and victims' family, all to your early release. What would you say if you could speak to the family? What would you say to them?
Well, I would tell them first and foremost that I'm truly sorry because that Miss Felicia didn't deserve what I did. And that one day I pray that, that I could at least live my life in a way that, that they could see that I have changed and I'm remorseful in this whole situation, that I won't apologize to her family, to her sons, because of my selfishness and my jealousy. I took the life of someone that I loved, and it's something that I have to deal with. And so I would like to apologize to her family and her sons, especially because I know that they had to grow up without their mom. And I know that, it's things that they go through in life that they would have needed her. And so for that, I'm sorry.
All right, thank you, Mr. Toomer. Warren, let's hear what you can tell us about Mr. Toomer.
Mr. Toomer has been working in the mattress factory since January of 2007. He went from medium custody up to a min A back in May of 17. He did complete welding through BRCC, and once completing that, he went back to work, which he is currently still in the mattress factory working in that capacity. That's all I have at this point.
All right, well, thank you very much. Mr. Toomer, I don't have any other questions. Thank you for talking with me.
All right, Mr. Toomer, we'll hear from your family who's here with us today. First, we'd like to hear from your sister, Ms. Rachel Toomer.
Hello. Good afternoon, board and judge. My name is Rachel Toomer, and I'm the sister of Robert Toomer. I'm also the bearer of this family for his kids, with his absence being incarcerated. The 19 years, I try to hold his family together. He's my older brother, and I don't condone, nor do I feel like it was right what happened. But as he's sitting doing the 19 years, in him doing these 19 years, I have seen a change as being his sister, from the daily conversations, from the visits, the conjugal visits, from me getting my family there, back and forth. And I just want y'all to know that Robert Toomer have done a hideous thing, but I am a believer that people deserve second chances. And I really do feel like he has been rehabilitated from the time the person that he left and the person that I witnessed and that I'm in tune with now. He to me, he is very essential to this family because he is my oldest brother. I am the youngest child of this family. And with bearing this weight, with him being missing, and now all these years that his children are grown, I have to muscle this on my own. I'm actually speaking through y'all through this Zoom cam without my family. My other family is back because I'm off at work, offshore. Some of the things that I have to endure without him being here has been hard on me, but I honestly feel like I got to take my place. But I'm coming to the panel and I'm coming in vindication of my brother. He got a place to live, and that's to reside with me. I feel like with a person being showed enough for support and love, and that they know that they got these many people standing behind him, I feel like he's been vindicated, and I don't feel as though that he'll let this family down. He know the money I've spent, the time that I put into this. You know, I just, want the panel to consider, again, I apologize to the family. I know it's nothing that we can do to bring this back, but if he can get out and take his position in this family, in this place, would be, very vindicating for me and to his kids and to other young Black kids in this community that's going through the same thing, that grew up in split households, that didn't know the right way of the channels to access to life. And they just going through and learning things on their own, without anybody being here actually doing the job as a mother and a father. I have no kids, so I've been standing in all these 19 years with his kids. They respect and love me, and they know that, they could come to me, but I am not their father. I can't do his job. So I'm humbly.
Can you wrap it up for us, please, ma'am?
Okay. And I just come to y'all humbly and ask that y'all see fit, and we at the mercy of this court, to give him a second chance, because I truly believe he has rehabilitated himself. And he have me and the rest of the family to stand behind him within doing so. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And thank you for taking the time to join us from your job. We appreciate it. We'd like to hear from Mr. Ronald Toomer, Mr. Toomer's uncle.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good afternoon, and I appreciate you allowing me a chance to speak on behalf of my nephew. First and foremost, I would like to say that I truly believe that my nephew is remorseful. Actions have taken the life of his fiance at the time the crime occurred, and I know the family is constantly reminded that that his fiance is not here, and I humbly ask them to accept the apology on behalf of the family and my nephew. I truly believe that he has been rehabilitated, and he has the tools necessary to have a new lease on life if he is offered this early parole. I believe he has a support system in place that's going to enable him to do well, and I do believe he will not reoffend. So I appreciate the time and opportunity of allowing me to speak, and I hope that that my words would touch your heart and to have consideration of this.
Thank you, sir. Now you have Mr. Robert Toomer there with you?
Yes, ma'am, he's right here.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. You'd like to speak?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Robert S. Toomer Sr., Robert's father. And I also would like to express that over the number of years with visiting my son and conversations with him over the telephone and letters and things and stuff, and me knowing my son even before he, got into this and after, and I do have remorse for the victim and the victim's family. And I do know that for a fact that my son, through sharing conversations with him over the numerous of years, that he's finally got in contact with reality with himself to realize that he is grown up and he's a young man. As far as his feelings and his involvement about his family and about the way things should go and accepting responsibilities. And it really showed me and proved to me that my son has actually reached the puberty of being a man. And he have a whole lot of where he can't help all the youngsters and stuff, and just like he was saying, as far as steering them the right way and keeping them from making the wrong decisions in life. Because Uli, well, I nickname him Uli. So every now and then, if I say it, that's what I'm talking about, Robert. He's a good inspiration to children because he always have, had consideration of looking out for children and children that even didn't know him. He buy one candy, others around, he take care of them or cut their hair or whatever, even if they didn't have someone, a father cut their hair. He always took care of other kids, and he'd be a good, person to entice other kids to stay straight and narrow. And I really truly feel that he is being the system for him for rehabilitation. For me, just personally knowing the difference in it. I think he's really set for society. And I do have him a job that's promised to him. And he can start working as soon as if the state allow him the opportunity to get back out into society, to redeem himself. I'm sure, I'm very much sure that he'll be able to carry on as he should be and as I would like for him to be. And I will support him in any way that I possibly can, me and my family, to make sure that he can move on. And again, myself, I would like to give my regards to the family, the victim family, and I know it can't change anything, but we're so sorry what happened, and the mistakes can be made, but the correcting your mistakes is the beginning of it. And I think my son has went through enough to realize that he got to walk on and just try to make things stronger for those behind him, and just do the best he can. And I'm willing to support him any kind of way. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Now we'd like to hear from the opposition. We had the DA's office is no longer able to join us, but we will note in the record their opposition on behalf of the district attorney. We have Jordan Wilson. Mr. Wilson?
Hello, good evening, afternoon. My name is Jordan Wilson. I'm the son of Felicia. Kind of put a little bit together of kind of what I want to talk about. Kind of beginning from my childhood. I do remember that morning when it happened. I was 7 years old. I was really young. I remember waking up confused, being carried out of my bedroom. On the way out the back door, I remember my mom's back door, well, her room door was about 5 to 6 inches open, and I could see cameras flashing. I'm assuming it was flashing with cameras. Once I got out of the door, I can see my grandmother, my aunt, both my aunts, screaming, crying, yelling. Seen a police car, seen an ambulance, I've seen several neighbors. They put me on a car across the street where I watched everything unfold. Didn't know what was really going on. I know I wanted my mom at the time, but it just felt odd, like it was overwhelming. Again, being 7 years old, it was definitely overwhelming. I remember once I watched everything unfold, no one came to explain what was going on. No one ever even approached me and my brother sitting on the car. I remember all these little details of that day, but the absolute hardest part for me that I live with is not remembering my mother's voice. Don't remember it at all. I did hear what you said about your kids, and that's great that you get to talk to them. That's awesome. I don't get to do that. So that's something I got to live with every year. So, excuse me. So every time May comes around, it's a hard month for me. Very hard month. Another milestone. She's missed several milestones in my life, obviously. Graduations, dances, the whole 9 yards. She has grandkids now that she's missed out on. Going to school, it was different obstacles. I couldn't handle all yo mama joke. It was very gut wrenching for me. I am thankful for my grandparents, though. They were able and stable enough to take me and my brother in, keep us together, keep us not separated. I believe in a person that can take a life, a mother, knowingly it's a mother, away from their children just because they're upset, jealous, whatever the case may be, is horrendous. It's a monster. It should never be released under any circumstances. Unfortunately, that's how I feel. And in conclusion, besides hell, there's no other place this individual should be. So that's my piece. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wilson. We appreciate your comments. Ms. Ladner?
Hello, can you hear me?
Ma'am.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys for allowing us to listen and to view and to speak on this panel today. My sister's been gone for 19 years. My daughter is 20. So my daughter only knows my sister for maybe about 7 months of her life. So the only thing she knows is that TT Pumpkin is gone. So my oldest son remembers her. It's a blessing that that him and his family is allowed to still see him. We can't call heaven and say, hey, can we talk to Pumpkin? Is she available? We can't do that. We can't drive, 1,000,000 miles into heaven to see our sister or to see, Pumpkin. We can't do that. That's not possible for us because she's not here. So if I can't get my sister back, they shouldn't be allowed to get their brother back. If my mom can't get her daughter back, they shouldn't be allowed to get their son back. Because at least they can go to the prison and see him. They can talk on the phone, they can have conversations. We can't do that. All that stuff that's not possible. So he took a lot from us when he took my sister. He took a lot. He didn't take just like a little bit we talked to her every now and then. He took a life. That was my oldest sister. That was somebody that I looked up to. And now I'm the oldest sister, which I had to learn how to do that because that wasn't my job. That wasn't my position. I'm the middle child. I have the older sister that tell me what to do, and then I have the baby sister that tells me what to do as well, because I'm the middle. They take over me. But I don't have that now. So now I have to be the oldest sister because it's just me and my baby sister now. And yes, my sister is a grandmother. She has a grandkid. She has grandkids. So therefore, it's just like she can't see them. They'll never know who their grandmother is. They'll only know their great grandmother, which is my mom. So that's stuff that is taken away that we can't never get back. So at least, like I said, they can see him. They can call him. They can go visit. They can do all that nice good stuff. We can't do any of that. All that was taken from us. And in conclusion, I'm happy that he's doing well in prison or, the things that he's doing to make himself better. But for me, he's not going to get better only because of the simple fact that he took my sister's life. He took a life. He took something that my mom and my dad gave to her. He took that from her. So she'll never breathe another day. So for me, I'm praying and I'm begging. I'm on the mercy of you guys to say, please do not let him out. Because for me, I'm not ready to go back to Louisiana and see him. I'm not even ready to just walk up on him and be like, oh my God, I'm not ready to do this. I'm not in that place. And it's only been 19 years. It's only 19. That's nothing. That's nothing. But thank you guys for hearing me. You guys be blessed.
Thank you, Ladner. And then I think lastly, we'll hear from your mother, Miss Sandra Connolly.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. First of all, Uli Robert Toomer Jr. May 26, 2002. You took my heart from me. You took everything from me. You left me here with 2 kids, 2, 4 and 7. 4 and 7, Rob Toomer Jr.
Ms. Connell, could you address your remarks to us, to the board?
Yes, ma'am, I'm so sorry. Judge, he tried 4 times to take my daughter's life. The 4th time he succeeded. He shot her in the chest, and then as her body hit the floor, he shot her in the back of the head. My heart is broken. I had to deal with my grandbabies. May is the hardest month for all of my family. And my grandbabies, her kids, they are hurting. It might be 19 years, Judge, but to me, it's just yesterday. And I know they saying they sorry, they forgive. They had plenty of time to tell us this. They had never told us, but the dad did. Told us that he was sorry. But nobody else never said a thing. Not even him. He took my child from me. He left me here with 2 babies. And he tried so many times to do it. And he finally succeeded. And now he's talking about he wants to get out. Judge, I'm pleading, I'm begging. Please do not let him out. I work in Franklin. I'm a sergeant. And he stay in Franklin. It's not gonna work. I don't know how I can handle that. And in conclusion, my boys is hurting so bad. And my girls and my babies. I consider them grandsons my babies because I raised them as babies. Now she has a grandson. I have a great grandson, somebody she would never see. And I thank y'all for listening to me today. And thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for your comments. Very, very meaningful for us. Mr. Robert, is there a statement you'd like to make to us to wrap it up for us?
Yes, ma'am. I just would like to thank y'all for allowing me this opportunity today. And I would also like to say, that in this whole ordeal, I know both families have suffered through it all. And I would like to apologize to my family and to Miss Fox's family, because I know that, my actions hurt both families. And for that, I am truly sorry.
All right, thank you, sir. I think we're prepared to vote. We'll start with Ms. Jackson. Mr. Toomer,
I think you have grown over the last year. I think you speak sincerely, although, it troubles me that you didn't quite own what happened. Because this was a deliberate act on your part, whether it was an anger, jealousy, whatever. You shot her twice, and it wasn't an accident, and it was really a terrible crime. It's caused a lot of grief and suffering that you've acknowledged, not only to the victim's family, but to your own family. I think you have made strides, but for me, because of the strong opposition from the DA and the victim's family, and the fact that you've served less than 20 years on this farm, that today is not the day. I'm going to encourage you to keep doing the things that you're doing, keep being positive, keep working hard, keep serving others where you are. And when you're eligible to reapply, you might be closer to where the board might feel comfortable. But today, my vote is to deny for the reasons stated, but I wish you good luck. Mr. Russia?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good afternoon, Mr. Toomer.
Good afternoon, sir.
Mr. Toomer, my vote is the same. I'm going to vote to deny you for the same reasons that Mrs. Jackson just stated. And my recommendation is that you buckle down, take more programs, you continue doing what you're doing now, and maybe in the future, it may be a different story. But 19 years is totally insufficient for taking the life of an individual that you said you loved.
Mr. Mariville?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Toomer, we've had several cases here today where the applicant didn't concede or tried to say something else happened. I find it especially troubling in your case because you've told all kinds of stories blaming everyone. You've accepted, so you say, responsibility today. But you are a person who was an abuser to this woman. And over a course of 3 or 4 days, you went there armed with weapons. You lied about what you were doing. You lied. You said, she invited me over. One story was, she invited me over. Another story was, the guy shot her. Another story was this. You say you accept responsibility, but I don't know that you really have. And I can understand why in prison, one might want to cloud the picture and not admit what they did. But when it comes to a person that has abused women in the past, it bothers me. Because what we see so often is the escalation of what happened here in this case today. And as long as I'm on this panel, and if you come back before this panel and you got those same stories, I will never vote to grant your parole. I think you need to look in your heart and accept, not deny, what you did. You've accepted responsibility, you say, and that's a great thing. But you have to understand in your heart, you are the reason that lady is dead. And you went over there and you shot her twice. And you've only served 19 years in jail for a murder. You have worked hard, and I recognize that. And I appreciate that, and I commend you for that. But I think that you really need to look into your heart and accept the fact of what happened and how it happened. You're 42 years old or older.
42, sir.
42 years old. You got a lot of life left. You're going to have more opportunities. Work on yourself a little bit. My vote today is likewise. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
I concur with my colleagues and also vote to deny.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we've received 4 votes to deny your application, so that's the outcome of today's hearing. You got a little more work to do, sir. Keep doing what you're doing. Reapply when you're eligible to do so. Good luck to you.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
who else really misses this board? I know I do. And that's why I've been going through this and bringing you up the old classics. Nothing like a Miss Jackson interview, followed up by a Mr. O'Shea and Mr. Marabella mic drop, so to speak. It is hard to believe. And in this day, and we'll be showing it to you if you haven't seen it already, the other hearings that they were referring to, where it was an accidental shooting. Actually, there was a hot mic. Maybe I'll show it to you, where Mr. Mirabella said right before this hearing, "Oh, look, it's another accidental shooting case." Right before this hearing took place, the one before it, the man said, "Oh, there was a rat running around the house, and I was trying to shoot the rat when I shot her 3 times." It's just something about them not taking accountability, and as Mr. Mirabella laid out, it was a classic stalking case. Let's go through it in the appeal here. So on May 22nd, 2002, plaintiff contends that Fox was assaulted and partially strangled with tumor again at her home in Frankleton. Fox placed a call to the police again, responding to officers, including the defendant, Sergeant James Holmes, to maintain that no arrest was made and official action taken with these officers. The next day, on May 23rd, 2002, so this is now the next day, plaintiff claims that Toomer assaulted Fox at her home and attempted to shoot her. Fox's mother placed a call to the police, who included Sergeant Holmes, responding and arrested Toomer, charging him with 3 counts of aggravated assault, illegal use of a weapon, simple battery, DV. Toomer was on probation, being convicted of the Devil's Lettuce in Washington Parish, Louisiana. Later, the day of May 26, 2002, plaintiff alleges that, so this is a lawsuit, actually, I see. It's a plaintiff, okay. That Fox was assaulted by 2 of Toomer's friends. A call was made to Frankleton Police Sergeant Review. The defendant, William Sugner, responded, but no arrest was made. So I see this is a lawsuit. Probably, let's go back and double check this. Yeah, they're suing the town of Frankleton, which I don't blame them. It looks like they totally screwed up. The claim brought against Armin Holmes, the sooner, is that the individual practice based on qualified immunity. The claims brought qualified immunity. We all know that problem, right? How cops are just like how police can have qualified immunity. The punitive damage claims about Frankleton and the claim against Frankleton Police Department. Having viewed the pleading memoranda, the relevant law, the court finds as follows. So they go through the background. Let's go back. Let's see if they win this lawsuit. This is interesting, but I think it's worth reviewing. Thank you, Richard, for providing it, because it does paint the picture of how this guy really was just the worst. I mean, this wasn't an accidental shooting. He plays it out to be. He was an evil stalker. The next day, on May 23rd, 2002, plaintiff claims that Toomer assaulted Fox at her home and attempted to shoot her. Fox's mother placed a call to the police, including Sergeant Holmes, responding to the arrest. Toomer charging him with 3 counts: aggravated assault, illegal use of a weapon, simple battery, DV. Toomer was on probation. I just read that, didn't I? Later, during May 26, 2002, plaintiff alleges that Fox was assaulted by 2 of Toomer friends. I read that too already, right? May 23rd, 2002, Toomer was released from prison. How is that possible? Wait, why is it going backwards? Toomer was released from prison. Plaintiff contends that he should not have been released because he was on violation of his probation, which requires a revocation hearing to be held before his release. Plaintiff Fox and Alex Wary say that they complained to Chief Lynn Armand about the quick release of the defendant Toomer and the belief that Toomer had actually been generally present at the Fox residence when she was beaten. Plaintiff contends that Fox obtained a restraining order on May 24, 2002. Then, about midnight, May 25, 2002, Toomer attempted to break in despite additional locks Fox placed on the outside of the mobile home. Fox was in her home with her children when Collie Wilson, she telephoned the police sergeant, James Holmes. Probably, it's on speed dial. Go straight to the sergeant at this point, right? And an additional unknown officer came to the scene, found Toomer, but did not arrest him. Are you kidding me? You have to say, this poor woman, she's doing everything, restraining, calling the police. He's getting locked up, and he keeps coming back. Oh, I hope they won this lawsuit. This is insane. This is madness. What was she to do? The officers did not take statements from Fox. On May 26, 2002, approximately 5 a.m., Toomer allegedly returned to the home and shot her twice, killing her. I mean, Toomer left the home but was injured. And you hear like his supporters all in this guy. He's so great. It's like, do you see? This is the dangerous man. He was taking no accountability. Even his final speech, I am sorry for my family and her family. Toomer left at the home but was injured with a gunshot wound inflicted by Collie. Binghamton Police Department was notified and Toomer was arrested second degree. Plaintiff alleges that a call made to Franklin Police Department later hours of May 25th and early May 26th, but the officer did not respond because he already told Fox to lock her door and just keep it locked. Okay, let's see if they awarded her anything. Plaintiff filed suit against the defendant. Detective William Stoner filed an answer September 2nd, 2000, a motion to dismiss cause of action. Named individual officers along with the conduct. Alleges that the police failure to respond and refusal to arrest Toomer on the night of the May 25th or 26th demonstrates a policy or custom of defendants to provide less police protection with domestic assault victims than the assault victim. Moreover, the plaintiff argued that the motivating factor of the defense action is giving lower priority to black female victims of DV. Finally, they alleged that Felicia Fox was injured, in fact, by the police customer policy. Plaintiff alleges facts claiming defendant equal protection clause. Okay. Well, what did they? What was the ruling? Plaintiff requests for all damages for the wrongful death of Felicia Fox. Motion to dismiss. As previously noted, defendant moves to dismiss. Pursuant, failure upon relief can be granted. The claims brought against Armin Holmes Stoner in their individual capacity based on qualified immunity. I guess you're never going to win the qualified immunity case, but what about just the jail for releasing him? Or the town, something. This is a motion to dismiss failure to state claim. Defendants assert when a plaintiff asserts a civil rights claim. Okay. You'll never win a qualified immunity thing because that's plaintiff for community damage and Finkelstein under and thus ask the court to dismiss this and demand that now we're going about the town, right? The city. Plaintiff responds that the prior to original complaint inartfully asserted its damages regardless based on the city of Newport motion to dismiss will be granted. And then the police department motion to dismiss in this regard as well accordingly. Yeah, they just dismissed everything. It is ordered that all ruling on the motion to dismiss is deferred with respect to claims. In fact, capacity, further order that the plaintiff shall file a Rule 7 reply addressing the defendant's qualified immunity defense, which on the court rule aspect of motion to dismiss. It's further order that the motion to dismiss is granted with respect to the claim. So it was all dismissed. It was all dismissed. Now you tell me, should the court have dismissed it? It looks to me like so many people in the chain messed up. If you don't want to put blame on the police because the police felt, hey, what are we supposed to do? You know, they arrested him. It's not their fault that that then he was released. You probably could say it was the judge that released him. I mean, they clearly didn't follow it seems protocol. They should have held him just because he was on probation. I mean, there's so many ways that this should have been stopped, and yet they couldn't win a lawsuit. This family was absolutely just the injustice around it is terrifying. At least he was denied. And man, the system is definitely broken. It has to be. You know, what were they supposed to do to defend themselves? get a really big dog, get a weapon. But you clearly see they could not rely on the system, and a life was lost because of that. With that, I'll let you go.